Oh, all right. That was fun. That was a high energy panel. It was good. I felt bad not like trying to get to everybody.
No, you did great. It's I think they asked really great questions on that one. I think covered it all.
Thank you for the people who prepped the questions, which is good. Well, we'll give it just a couple of minutes for people to come out of that panel. I've already got a few people in the breakout session right now, which is really cool. And then we can spend a little bit of time, hopefully answering people's questions as well. So Matt, in a couple of minutes, I'll give you another opportunity to reintroduce yourself and let people know who you are and tell us a little bit more about Recharge as well, if you'd like. Yeah. And we can just take it free and easy. We'll just vibe. That's all we need to do.
Yep. Just let me know when you think is a good time to kind of kick it off. I see people are kind of rolling in right now, so.
Yeah, people started rolling in. I think we'll give it one more. But have you had a chance to tune into any of the sessions earlier today? Oh well, what time is it there? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon. So right now it's 10:04. But I did wake up a little bit earlier to kind of catch the second panel, which is really nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice. That's good.
I didn't wake up early enough to catch the first panel though. And a lot of the cool things
it's so early.
Is really awesome. That was great.
Love that. Yeah. It's been a really fun day so far. I feel like it's absolutely flown by. Well, we've got a few people in here now, so welcome. I hope you enjoyed. If you were listening to the panel before, I hope you got something out of that. I know I did. This breakout session, as I was saying, is very much about everybody in here. You can jump in with audio and video if you want, or you can just keep it to chat. As Matt was saying, it's early where he is, so if you haven't had your coffee yet, I can understand why you might not have turned chat on. There we go. There it is in the branded mug. I love it. I'm Zach, marketing ops guy from Loyalty Line. Matt, please tell me a little bit about you and a bit more about Recharge.
Yeah, sure. So for those of you who probably didn't catch the intro, my name is Matt Houlemard. I'm a technology partnership manager here at Recharge. What I do currently is I make sure that we provide all the integrations that our merchants need. Primarily, our goal is to just make sure we're getting you the value that you need for the different technology partners that we have out there, so you could service your customers at scale. Before this position, I was an account manager here at Recharge as well. So worked with our top book of accounts, helping them get through 2020, which was an experience. There was a lot of different things going on. So yeah, got to know them really well. Got to know the product really well. Got to know subscriptions really well, and how it fits into the whole landscape of e-commerce. Prior to this, I was building out an agency and technology partnership program at another company. So very familiar with the whole e-commerce landscape. Happy to answer any questions. A little bit more about Recharge. So Recharge has been an expert in the subscription space since 2016. We have about 15,000 merchants on our platform right now, ranging from Shopify Plus, BigCommerce, and a couple of headless merchants. So we service the whole kind of stages of scale for merchants. So if you're like a mom and pop shop just getting going, trying to figure out how to fit subscriptions into your business, to you're acquiring a lot of the subscribers, like how, what to do to do more of that. Then kind of the middle ground of like, okay, things are going, tip the scale, 50% of my customer base are subscribers. Most of my revenue is coming from recurring orders. And then that's when you start seeing the difference in the mindset of brands who are like, I'm a subscription brand now, it's
a dream state, right?
Yeah, totally. We see a lot of that part of the scale as well. And then the more mature brands who are, they figured it out, and now they're just automating a lot of their processes to continue to keep operating at scale, so that their operations aren't bogged down by inefficient flows and stuff like that. So worked with a wide range. Happy to answer any questions. If you are in the audience and anywhere in that, or if you just have general questions about anything, count me in. I'm here.
Just totally open. Yeah. I'd love to dig into that a little bit more, actually, because you mentioned something that comes up for merchants. I've seen a lot, and I've followed Recharge for a long time, and some of my favorite brands. I didn't get to say my emotional connection brand on the last panel. Well, I think it's this. It might be there's this great coffee roaster here just outside of London, and they're James Gourmet Coffee. Their e-commerce experience is perfectly reasonable, but they're a brand that's, wholesale, that went D2C, but they have all this like they write really great posts about their product. It's all about understanding the origin of the beans, explaining how you could use them. Like they know all the farmers personally, the co-ops personally, and obviously the team there is going at, like, they might not be natural writers, they're not content marketers, but they know what is important to them, so they put it out into the world. And they're starting to get into the subscription model idea, but I'd be so interested to ask them what made them start thinking that might be right for them. And so from your side, from all of your experience, how should merchants make that decision, and is there a tipping point that they should really think about?
Yeah, so to be candid, subscriptions aren't for everybody. If you're selling like mattresses, probably not the best option to
I need a new every month.
Yeah. Yeah. So subscriptions are primarily really good for consumable products, something that customers need on a recurring basis, right? So you kind of shift your thinking. If you're a brand, do I have a consumable product, something that somebody can buy on a recurring basis? It doesn't necessarily have to be a consumable. It could be t-shirts. There are brands that do t-shirts, clothes, some kind of so it's like a curated subscription essentially. Every month you subscribe to this brand. Every month they'll send you their different lookbooks, styles, as being part of a member of this subscription program. So that's one way to think about it. If you're kind of like on the outside and not really, you don't have a consumable product. If you do have a consumable product, you think about what would be the right model for your business, right? So how do consumers interact with your product? Is it something like toothpaste? Like, do they need it on, every 3 months, and it's something that they rely on in their daily habit? Like those do really well. So it's like I'm subscribed to like a water filter. It's like you buy the pitcher.
The jug.
Yeah, the jug. You buy the pitcher and it comes as a subscription. You just get the filter every couple of months, right? So when it's things like that, you need to think about what is the recurring cadence that your customers should be receiving your product. So have that in mind, and then think about getting to know your customers, right? So things like quizzes, and this goes back to the whole first party data thing, right? Like getting to understand your customers. How many people live in this customer's household? How many people are drinking water, right? How often would that filter last and need to be replaced, kind of deal? And then once you get that cadence in and you're lockstep with that customer, then it becomes really fluid, and then it's ongoing from there. You're just recurring revenue every month or however often the cadence is, and that stability for your business as a merchant. So with the whole iOS thing last year, I was working with a number of different accounts, and there was a lot of panic going on what to do and what's going on. Now that this dust is settled, after those iOS updates have gone out, I'm in a different position now, but I've gone back and reconnected with those brands just to check in, see how they're doing. And a lot of them showed stability across their subscription program. So although their acquisition channels might not be as reliable, the subscription model that they had proved to be kind of like a lifesaver, like a life wrap. And then they could start tapping into those existing subscribers with the referral program. And so that's kind of what we're seeing now is as we're coming out of 2021 and going into 2022, I kind of wrote about this in the ebook as well. It's like 2020 explosive growth. 2021 is like, okay, things are sort of normalizing. Things are opening back up. So maybe we'll see a dip in e-commerce, especially with subscriptions. Like people will start canceling because they're just going to start going back to their brick and mortars. Didn't see that. Things just remain stable. So now the trend that we're going to see start developing is like those merchants who have stability. How can they keep that going? What can they do to incentivize their customers to stay on longer? So things like loyalty program go a long way. They provide good incentives for the customer to feel that they're being rewarded for their loyalty to a brand.
More than just getting the product.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that, and then there's even like another step after that we're going to see start developing a little bit more, and it's memberships, right? So it's like, okay, we know we have subscribers. We know we have a segment that's loyal subscribers and they love it. Like, let's give them exclusive access to things. Let's reward them even more. Okay, some questions are coming in.
Yeah. Well, why don't we, because we were just talking about churn right then. So what about how there was a question earlier today about preventing subscriber churn. I mean, that's something you've worked on the AE side and the sales side and the subscription side. Tell us more about what you've seen some of your favorite merchants do around reducing subscriber churn.
Oh yeah, that's kind of my jam, really.
You subscriber jam?
No, I used to love doing this kind of stuff. So there is a chat in there in the QA. I saw coming, but I haven't had a chance to read it. But so okay, I'm gonna answer this question really fast. So yeah, what I did, and I kind of alluded to this in the other one, I mean, in the panel, was just laying out the customer journey, right? And with my merchants that I was doing account management for, I specifically zoomed in on subscriptions. And so with Recharge, where I like to start is the cancellations that are happening, right? Because that's like the feeling that for a merchant, like that's like, people are leaving, like let's stop that,
why don't you like me?
Yeah, exactly. There's a hole in this boat and like it's sinking. Like, I need to plug it up. So you can look at the data essentially. In Recharge, you can set your like cancellation reasons, and then you can incentivize people to stay with like discounts and other things like that. But if they do churn out, hopefully they're providing a reason why. And you want to look at that in aggregate and just see the trends that are going on with your subscriber base. And there are different reasons, right? So going back to the cadence thing, or even you think about the customer journey in terms of like incentives. Sometimes they see the subscribe and save, and they really didn't see what the subscription program or the club or it's like talking about in different markets.
Yeah, what the whole offering is.
Exactly. So they'll see the discount. And they're like, okay, I'll get the discount, and then turn out, I cancel my subscription just because I just wanted the discount kind of deal.
Yeah, they're not getting the full value.
Yeah, you'll see that in a lot of like brands newer to subscriptions and haven't really put too much, or they just like installed and kind of like, all right, let me see how this works out, right? So
yeah,
you'll see drop off like first, second month. So you'll kind of want to start thinking about your subscription program a little bit differently in terms of your marketing lingo. Olipop, they do really well with this. They highlight their subscription program, tell you what it's all about, and it's more of like, yeah, I want to subscribe to this. It's like, yeah, I'll be a subscriber. So, that's one thing you'll notice, and we just kind of know just from like subscription behavior, just looking at the data. Another thing is like product fatigue. If you are selling, so outside of the other two examples that I gave, if you're selling just like a flavor of a consumable, food, drink, whatever it may be, sometimes customers, they get a little bit fatigued on that. And so this is kind of what I was alluding to in the panel, was giving flexibility to your customers, saying like, hey, your upcoming subscription is about to come again in the next couple of days. Like, do you want to swap the products? Like, are you tired of like this one flavor? So, sometimes people aren't, without something like that in place, you'll see people just cancel their subscription because they're just like, they think, I don't want it. But what they need to be thinking is like, I just want a different flavor. I want to try something new.
Yeah.
So
you could be doing that's why that whole membership, that whole value proposition approach works nicely, right? Because then you can start sneaking in the samples and then ask, did you enjoy that sample? Then you start doing product extensions, and you start making sure that there's still some variety without necessarily, you don't have to take away from the core or give people something that they can shift to as opposed to shifting away. Which I find really interesting. Super interesting. Why don't we come to Wendy's question, which is, we have a subscription model business and they use Recharge, which is great. We've seen crazy growth and increased LTV since we began in 2019, but near the end of 2021, we began to see a decline in our new subscriptions and an increase in cancellations. We were just talking about how you can prevent some of that churn, but how do you build new subscriptions, and we were talking about how to maintain the ones you've already got. So we talked through some examples there, but what about getting those new ones?
So I'm like, I can't see her like store, like like that, go through it.
You want the data right away.
So it's like I have to go off some assumptions here. Okay, growth 2019, great. Near the end of 2021 started to be a decline in new subs. It's like, I'm kind of curious, like what on the acquisition side, if there was a decline, like what was possibly impacting that? Was it related to the whole iOS thing? It's like, was that a thing? Going on to the question though, what are some ways to maintain and build new subscriptions? So yeah, going back to
iOS related, there it is. It's in the chat.
Okay.
Wendy, yes.
Yeah.
Give us the context. We love it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, I don't know. It's like, do you have a referral program in place already? Like, are you tapping into your current subscriber base? Though you know, those are the customers that will be your advocates and talk about or share with their friends. Like, I have this great product they've been trying out. Like, you should try it too. For them, it's an incentive because they're getting off, like a discount or a certain percent off on their next order, or however you want to set it up, and also their referral also gets a discount as well. So yeah, and so the other part of your question is kind of going into like what the 2022 trends essentially is like, all right, so how do we incentivize people to stay longer? So you're saying maintain the subscriber base. Yeah, so it's thinking about incentives, like, okay, focus in on your subscribers, your subscription program, and then so you have like these recurring orders for your customers. What is happening in that recurring order that you can put there to incentivize them to stay, right? So
yeah,
I know some brands, they do like free gifts at a like order number 3 type deal, or certain discount. Kind of test with that, see how that works, see how another part of it is kind of like visibility, right? Like, so it's like, do customers know that this is there along the path? So part of it's like educating your subscribers as well as part of your subscription model, part of the club. That like, hey, if you're a subscriber, hang around, like you'll see some benefits from it, kind of deal.
Yeah, which might be more touch points, right? I mean, Wendy has a good follow-up here, which is that they've got a referral program in place, so that's great news as well. But dealing with a personal care product, maybe their customers don't necessarily feel like giving a referral or sharing that experience with their friends. I would say, considering when we're thinking about user-generated content and reviews, there is still work that can be done there that isn't necessarily about a direct referral, that you can get some of those stories and incentivize getting some of those positive testimonial stories that you can still anonymize, all those kinds of things that let people share positive experiences, which help build loyal relationships as well. And you can reward those experiences with, it might be a discount on their subscription, but it could just be, why don't we just throw in a free month into your subscription? Or we can give you double loyalty points on your next purchase, those kinds of things. Or we'll stick a little free sample in there for you, or we'll cheapen delivery, a million things that you could do that aren't necessarily about direct referral, because some products aren't necessary. Some people might be the only one in their own personal group as well that are subscribed to that or using that. So yeah, there are still things I think you can do, definitely from a user-generated content perspective and an advocacy point of view, that is not about direct referrals, that is more about testimonial reviews, those kinds of things, sharing of experience with strangers.
There's like another aspect of it that you as you were talking, I was like kind of got the wheels going of just like other brands that I've seen. Kind of one of the cues was personal care. When it comes to like personal care, that has like a strong like emotional connection to it, right? And there was another account that I was managing, like a year ago. It was almost like their community, the group where that community lived, was so strong, more focused on the personal care aspect of it, that they like that brand could have spun up any kind of product, like kind of deal around just the personal care of it. And it like feeds into the idea of personal care. So feeding into that brand messaging, having a place for those loyal customers to live and hang out and talk, or just some kind of awareness to the others that are out there. And that kind of like starts sparking internally in the consumer's head. Others will benefit from this as well, because other people obviously are.
Well, yeah, and that's that strong value statement as well, a value exchange, but also shared values between a brand and a customer, that starts to bleed into or starts to create a brand community. And, as you said, personal care, and, this might be appropriate for Wendy's brand, but that idea of customers helping each other out, it doesn't need, as I said, need to be directly, family and friends, but being there as support for each other, troubleshooting situations. We see this a lot in personal care. We see it in cosmetic. We see that these communities are built up, not necessarily just about like, oh my God, buy my product, like mini influencer or a macro influencer, but more about how do you use it? What do you like? What of these varieties of that product range do you use in these circumstances? And there's always that slight troubleshooting element too, which can also take off some effort from you as a brand, but you can also learn about your customers there as well. You can be part of that conversation, and they'll tell you things about your brand. As you were saying before, Matt, things about understanding how often people get through their product, that cadence. You can start to adjust your subscriptions. Maybe you might want to offer customers a little break, or maybe they need to ramp up their subscription, those kinds of things. You can learn that from your community too. I'm conscious we've had a few more questions. Do you mind if I jump onto another one, or have you got something else you'd like to add?
No, that's good. Yeah.
That? No, perfect. From Jess. Hi, Matt and Zach. Thank you so much for everything. It means, great. I'm reading out our own things. That's very nice of you. Amazon. They do a great job of applying discounts, incentivized subscription model. They do. I always feel like I'm accidentally going to choose the subscription when I just want one. I don't need more sticky Velcro things. I don't need them every month. I just need this one time. But they incentivize the subscriptions. They give you fast shipping. What are some ways that a small business can compete with that subscription model on themselves?
Yeah, Amazon, the big beast in the room that
the elephant in the room
for e-commerce, and the consumer behavior on like how things should be.
The stakes, right? High stakes. Yeah.
They have all the infrastructure and all that stuff. No, I totally get it. They kind of created the whole like idea of subscribe and save, right? And kind of like the standard,
or at least brought it to more people, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Great job of applying discount. Okay. What are some ways small business can compete with that? Yeah, so it's part of it's like your branding, right? Like Amazon, it's Amazon, like that's their brand. That's not really your brand. It's not your voice. And so people that are shopping direct consumer, they're looking more for a connection with the brand themselves. So kind of like that's kind of the anchor of it. And so, that trickles down to the messaging that you have of what your brand represents, what problem you're solving, what value you're bringing to people, and that community you're building of other people who have a similar problem that you're solving. And then that trickles down to the strategy of, so instead of like using discounts and stuff, because I see another question in there as well, it's letting your customers know the value of them getting closer. So it's like, you got to think about it from like first time buyer and a returning customer, right? So messaging for first time buyers, you're scoping your brand out, seeing if it aligns with their values or like with what they need kind of deal, depending on your brand, donor brand. But this is what I'm saying, like branding helps with this a lot. So them buying a product is kind of like the cost of admission.
I think this comes back to what you said earlier, right? About the whole package. Like it's not subscription. The way that Amazon sells it is subscription. You get a product every month. Congratulations. Yeah. I mean, Amazon's so easy to buy from. I feel like you're only saving me 5 seconds anyway. But a subscription with a smaller brand where it is about the value exchange, it's about buying into something, into some story, plus all the other things that come with that, those personal touches. Maybe it's a trial of a new thing. Maybe it is a loyalty program that gives you points. Maybe it is a bit more story behind the product, sharing more of your brand, maybe sharing more of the people, the product, the provenance of that is stuff that Amazon cannot chase you on, and that you can differentiate your brand with and create that community of customers too.
So there's a way I always like to think about it, and this is just got an announcement. Okay. Anyway, there's a way to think about it, right? Like as an entrepreneur, someone that sells things, there's like two different mindsets that kind of like set the tone for the type of customers you're going to have, the experience they have, and all that stuff. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's like transactional, and then there's a relational, right? So transactional is more of I just need this product. I'm going to go into the convenience store, buy it, and then I'm out. Along that way, as the convenience store, they're probably going to try to upsell me with like little different things here and there all the time. And the experience is not that well from like the brand's perspective. Like they're looking for the conversion. They're not really thinking about the experience, which doesn't go that far, right? Especially if you have subscribers, transactional does not do well because customers are just going to churn out. So you need to start thinking a bit about it more as a relational aspect of selling. And that's kind of like going to your coffee shop or Starbucks or wherever it is, that you go buy coffee, if you drink coffee. Just think of any store that you go to on a regular basis. You go there, you're buying something, but people are asking you like, hey, how's your day going? It's like you start building a relationship with these people. And then over time, you just start buying more stuff. It's just like, yeah, I'll try that like croissant, it's like kind of deal. So when you anchor your selling in that, in the relational aspect of it, that's like pretty important for a subscription brand, essentially, because if your experience isn't tailored to that, and if it's more transactional, like people are gonna have a bad experience and they'll churn and they'll let you know. So it's more about anchoring yourself in CX and like the customer experience.
Yeah.
And that has a lot of return on it as a business.
Yeah, looking for more touch points that aren't specifically the transaction, not just the auto confirmed email. Did you receive it? Will you just leave us a review? Like look for those non-transactional moments to help build that relationship. I mean, you can use a tool like Recharge to make sure that the subscription nuts and bolts and execution, you don't have to spend too much time there, right? And you can spend more time on crafting that great proposition and building that relationship. I know we're coming to the end of our panel. We've got 2 questions that have gone unanswered. I want to see if you can do a 20-second on Fernando's question, which is 50% of their churn is passive churn, ! On passive. Credit cards are expiring. How do you minimize that?
So Recharge, we have like a baseline kind of feature that does the passive churn. Basically, it just does retries on the card, and you can set up like little notifications here and there. But if you want to dive a little bit deeper on that, there are some really good experts on specifically that part of the subscription journey. They're called Churn Buster. Highly recommend them. We have a lot of accounts that use them. They're great people. They align really well with our product, and this is what they love to do. I was just chatting with their CEO like yesterday, and he was like, I have some really good results that I want to show you guys within the next like week or two. So there's them. There's also ProfitWell is another one of our tech partners that you can utilize. So it just depends on where you're at in your business and what feature you want to use and how deep you want to go in addressing. 50% is quite a bit. Okay, what's the next question? Sorry.
No, I think we're out of time, unfortunately. But what I'm going to say is, Matt and Mackenzie, your question's amazing. Matt, if Mackenzie wants to get in touch with you personally, where can anybody on the call, but especially Mackenzie, get in touch with you?
Yeah, so there is a email in the expo booth for Recharge.
Yep, people can head to the booth. Yep.
For LeBron. And then my email is mhoulemard@rechargeapps.com.
Amazing. Matt, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope we can do this in person sometime, Matt. Have a great afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you on the AMA section on the main stage. Cheers, guys.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.